Hi, everybody, and welcome to our monthly webinar for the Clearly Essential team. I'm Crystal Garvin, and I am here with Robyn Langdon. We are excited to bring you a recap from the leadership retreats that happened recently. So this is our April 2017 webinar, but a lot of this will apply anytime, even though it's recent updates and news. We have some great things to share that I think will be timeless, and we're excited to bring you updates, information, a little bit of inspiration from our experiences in California and Florida. So I was really excited to bring Robyn in to help me with this because it was her first leadership retreat. She is one of our newer silvers. And of course, the leadership retreat is for our silver and above leaders on our teams. So we have a few thousand people on each coast at these retreats. It's really exciting, and there's a lot more focus on business training, leadership training, along with some updates and news, but it's definitely more focused on personal development than the convention is. So Robyn, I'd love for you to open up just by sharing your overall impression, and I'd just love to know if you thought it was worthwhile, worth the expense, the time that it took to set aside and to work things out on your schedule with your family, and just all it took to get there, and also just kind of what your impression was as far as the difference between leadership and convention.
Yeah, well, thanks for having me, and I loved going. I was so glad that I hit silver in time, and it was one of the goals that I had in place because I knew it was coming up. So it was really worth it, not only to go and to make those sacrifices, but to really push so that I could reach silver in time. And I knew just from what others had said that it was going to be great for my personal development and for my business overall. But I didn't know, like you don't know until you go. And I think one of the main impressions was just how it was really inspiring. And it was really great getting to be in the same room with people who were all like-minded, focused on the same thing, and yet unique in their own individual ways. And I think one of the main impressions that I came away with is that just about every speaker who was either on a panel or doing a main talk themselves expressed that they had gone through a personal crisis or just struggle, or they had overcome just a whole lot of busyness in their lives. And I think that's where so many of us get to the point where we either see that and use it as an excuse to quit, or we see that and use it as an excuse and a reason to keep going. And so that's kind of just the main takeaway that I got, and it was very inspirational because I think we all get to that point where it's like do or die, like the rubber meets the road, and you're
Right.
either going to push through and do it, or you're going to give up. And just seeing how it wasn't easy for any of them. And I just needed to hear that. I needed to be in the same room with people who had faced the same challenges and overcome them. And the bottom line was, if you keep going and don't give up and, use the support around you, then you'll get there too. So I'm so glad I went. I had to, obviously leave my family. It wasn't too far of a drive, but it was still getting ready to leave and make sure they're okay, and the expense of finding a room. And I found some really great roommates. They're not even close to being related to our team, but they were great and they were fun, and we had a good time. I think one of my roommates is Melissa Mortner's direct enrollee. So
Cool.
That's really, far away from my tree, but
Yeah.
anyways,
That's
it
cool.
was good. Yeah, it was so good just to meet them and be inspired and kind of mastermind, in between. And, oh, how are you doing this? And how are you, getting more classes? And what gifts are you giving away, and hostess prizes and things like that. So it was just really awesome and fun. And I got to meet some of the big wigs, which I'm all starstruck. So that was one of the big things too, because they're just accessible and they make themselves available, and you can shake their hands at the party and meet them. And it was so awesome.
Wow. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for sharing. I can definitely feel your enthusiasm. And I know I felt the same way at my first leadership. And I really want to encourage everyone to make it a goal to be there next year, that it is really worthwhile. So let's go ahead and stop our videos so we're not blocking any of the slideshow information on the next upcoming slides. And we'll cover some of the updates and announcements and the news that we learned about. We're going to start though with just talking about some of the inspiring things for each of us. And I'm going to make my part short because I really want Robyn to have a chance to share some of her takeaways. And really honestly, everyone, it's so hard to pick out just a few things because we got so much, and we had days worth of sitting and listening to some of the most inspiring, most successful, most interesting speakers. And I just pulled out a few slides that I took pictures of. This is so simple, but so profound. Just starting and stopping. And that was Justin Harrison in his short but really power-packed presentation, because it's so easy to, like Robyn just said, use life circumstances as excuses. But we also have the choice instead to make those our fuel and to push through to reach our why. And one of the biggest pitfalls is when we stop or take a break or pause. And that's not to say we can't do that. We've had people who needed to do that because of very serious circumstances and life situations. And I know they're so grateful that their business is still there when they are ready to resume. But I don't recommend that unless it really is a life-altering circumstance, because when you have to start again, it is like starting all over, and it's more painful each time when you take a break or pause or stop, and then you try to start again. And I just recommend being consistent and keep doing something. Even if it feels small or not as much as someone else is doing, just start doing something and continue being consistent in it. And you will continue to build momentum, and your journey won't be like anyone else's because you aren't like anyone else and your life isn't like anyone else. And that's the beautiful thing of it. We're all unique. We all have different gifts and strengths to bring. I love that Robyn was able to connect with cross-line team members, and that's really our culture. One of the things I love about the leadership as well. Something else that I love about Leadership Retreat is just the inspiration to move from being kind of a manager of our teams and our volume and where things are to being a leader. And the greatest gift we can give someone else is believing in them. We have to encourage them to believe in themselves again. A lot of people haven't had dreams or belief in themselves. And that is our job. And it's a great responsibility, but it is so rewarding. And so we're really encouraged to change our focus as we move into leadership. And I don't care what rank you are. If you're brand new in the business, you know that eventually you're working toward being a leader. So it's great to start thinking like one now. And the focus becomes helping others grow and giving them a place to shine so they can find joy and satisfaction and fulfillment in this journey. And also to recognize and promote other people and not to be intimidated by people who might be smarter than you or have skills that exceed your own. It's wonderful to have that on our teams. I certainly have lots of that on my team, and I love to utilize it and look for strengths that I don't have so I can ask people to shine in that way. And you also have to be at peace with yourself. Just really know who you are. It's not about you. It's not about your ego. It's really about your team members and helping them grow to their fullest potential as you become a leader. So just kind of the theme one of the speakers talked about was harnessing the power of humility and gratitude and what that can do for us as leaders. And I just love that theme. Mm-hmm. And then sometimes, you believe in someone, you pour your time and energy into them, and something falls apart anyway. They quit, or that leg just doesn't maintain energy or momentum, or life circumstances happen to other people. and maybe it feels like your team is unraveling a bit. And I really liked this. Sometimes good things fall apart so better things can fall together. And it kind of reminds me of a quote I heard that helps me a lot when I was in the early stages of building and making phone calls and asking people to be a part of my business. And I would feel rejection. And I would remember sometimes rejection is God's protection. He knows who's supposed to be on my team and where I'm supposed to focus my energy and who I'm supposed to help today. And maybe that rejection isn't really a rejection of me, but it's just God's way of opening another pathway for me. So I really encourage you to think about that, not to focus on, oh, I made a mistake, or this fell apart, or this is irreparable. There's nothing in our businesses that can't be grown or changed or fixed or utilized. And it might look like a mess. It might look like something fell apart, but something better can still fall together if we stay focused on our part, which is personal activity. And you may just be one enrollment away from a whole new leg that would completely transform your business and completely take your focus off of that thing that fell apart. But if you stay transfixed on what you feel like is the negative of your business, you will not be able to grow. You won't be able to see the positive. So those were some things for me that I loved and took away from the inspirational trainings. And I'm going to turn it over to Robyn and let her share some of her biggest takeaways.
Yeah, so one of the speakers, they spoke together as a couple, Matt and Sarah Jansen. They talked a lot about culture, and tribe is the name of their team, is their tribe, and the things that they do together as a team. And some of it's not even like dōTERRA training related or business related. It's just being together and investing into one another. And that's something I really took away from that I need to work on and improve for my team as well. I tend to be very task focused. And so sometimes it's hard for me to even think, oh, hey, maybe we just need to hang out together and no shop talk.
Yeah.
And how that can really be positive for my business in the end. It's growing my business even though we're not doing any, related tasks or training. So something just that I want to improve on, but I love this quote that they said, beautiful things happen when you distance yourself from negativity. So create a culture of positivity. And that's just what I want. I think we all should be doing on our teams and with our leaders and with our builders and our sharers and even our members of just being intentional about that positivity and possibility. So sorry, it says create a culture of possibility, which is similar to positivity.
Yes.
But just making it possible for people and making it positive when they're around you, and making sure that that's what they come away with, because really that's what they need. They might think that they need more money or more builders or leaders, but what people really need, one of the bottom line basic necessities we need is a sense of belonging. And we need to belong to a place where a community where it's positive and we're not being torn down or griped about or griped at, and
Right.
So making sure that is the culture that we establish. So I really like that. And then
Just this 1 second. I'm going to interject for a second. I want to agree with that's something else we need to focus on. Sometimes we think people will just be drawn to dōTERRA and dōTERRA's culture and dōTERRA's products, and they are absolutely. But people also are drawn to us, and deciding now what your team culture is going to be like. The culture of dōTERRA is what makes us the number one essential oil company, but we also, in order to grow our own businesses, need to, like Robyn and like Matt and Sarah shared, to grow our influence. And that's when our business grows. As our influence grows, we get to decide what our team culture is like. And that's wonderful. It's such an exciting thing to be in charge of that. But it's a responsibility to make sure that we're passing on to our team members.
Yeah, for sure. So one of the speakers, her name was Emily Pfeiffer, and if I'm remembering correctly, I think she grew up with Callie Wilson. And so she just had some powerful stories about how she talked with her and how she was kind of shared with from Callie the opportunity and everything. And she talked about momentum. And I really enjoyed a lot of what she had to say. And I think that's something kind of like Crystal said in the beginning, starting and stopping is just going to end up really hurting your business overall if you do it often enough. And so keeping that momentum, even in small ways, and just continuing to keep going. And that's something that I've had to learn how to do. And also I've had to learn how to teach my team members to do too. So I liked her tips. So the first tip she said was understand and love our profession. And so just embracing network marketing, and that was hard for her. And she really admitted that she had some hurdles to overcome and some biases and opinions that she needed to overcome. But just really embracing that and loving it and being almost, prideful or proud that that's what you do and that's who you are, and that it's an opportunity and a wonderful thing. And until we get to that point where we're not ashamed to be in our profession, to be doing what we're doing and, sharing the oils, but also just, our compensation plan in our business model and things like that, we're not going to be able to duplicate it. We're not going to be able to share it effectively if we go around bashful about it. We need to be going around, enthusiastic about it. So that was really encouraging. And then she said, the first 5 years, you will figure out the pace, but show up every day to pay the price. And I just like that. So that was good. The second one, she said, be happy for others' success. And she told the story about how when she and Callie Wilson were younger, she was really jealous of her because Callie was doing everything well and she felt like she couldn't compare to her. And so she expressed that to her mom one day and said she was just thinking about, letting Callie have all the attention and not necessarily trying out for, I think it was gymnastics or something like that they were both, or cheerleading, something that they were both doing. And her mom told her, and she said she'll never forget it, she said her mom told her, our planet needs all of the most beautiful and amazing women possible. So never wish for someone to not be successful for your sake. And so that's just so huge. I think just for in our business and in our mindset and in life in general, to be happy for others, because the world needs us all, to be shining our light as bright as possible. It's not like the world just needs one successful businesswoman, or a few, or even a handful. Like the world needs us all to be doing our job and to be shining, the light of love, to be sharing oils, to be successful and inspirational. And so that was huge. I love that part where she shared that little story, because there's room for her and Callie Wilson in the world. So the third thing is nurture your greatest asset, which is you. And she mentioned Tony Robbins, how he says, do something for yourself, your business, and your family every day. So being intentional about those things and making sure that you realize your value and you're doing something for yourself. And self-care is important to me, and something I teach often to people as well, in a lot of different circumstances, whether that's church or dōTERRA or my team. But making sure you're taking care of yourself, because without you, your business isn't going to go anywhere. And then the fourth thing, associate your mind with the best. So be intentional about who you hang out with. Be intentional about choosing your mentors and your coaches well, and make sure that who you're hanging out with is those positive people. And then the fifth thing she talked about for maintaining and increasing your momentum is tap into your genius and your passion. And she said, truly inspired people are inspiring. And so if you are feeling uninspiring, then, be proactive about being inspired and seek out things and people and activities that inspire you, and you'll duplicate that. Brainstorm ways to bring that into your business, who you are individually and uniquely, like who God has gifted you to be in your, and made you special to be, and use that and tap it into your business and make it unique and special. And that was just a really great talk. Then another thing she said is, be willing to be bad at this for a little while. That's how you get good at it. And I thought that was so awesome, because I felt really bad at this for a long time. And I was on my own in Colorado when I first started dōTERRA, and Kelly was in North Carolina, and I didn't know anyone else who did dōTERRA, and I was just going to jump in and do it. And my first class was such a horrible flop, and I had like 2 or 3 people there, and they were so patient with me, and I talked for like 3 hours about the oils and I don't even know what I said, but I think that that's so true. And even as bad as I was, I still think I got an enrollment in my first class, and I still kept at it, and I kept learning how to be good at it, knowing that I had never done it before, so I kind of needed to give myself some grace to learn how to get good at it. But the only way I was going to get good at it is by practicing and by doing it. So I really resonated with that, and that was really awesome to me.
It's funny because I remember one of the speakers specifically saying that dōTERRA seems to attract perfectionists, and not all the time, obviously. There's lots of different personalities and strengths within our teams, but that perfectionism, will really kill your business. If you think everything has to be perfect, then you won't get started. And you just need to get out there and get started and be willing not to be perfect, so that you can grow and get better, but also so that people know you're real. And another one of our leaders, Jessica Beaver, recently said that on a thread on Facebook. She said perfectionism is not inspiring. And so just when you look at someone that you think is perfect, that doesn't inspire you. That makes you think, well, I don't know what chance I have, or I could never be like that. And so really for others to look at us and realize, oh, she's not perfect, or she messed that up, or whatever, is actually more inspiring, because it makes them think I could do this too. And that's what we want.
Yeah. I like how Peggy Smith says, she's like, see, they just let anybody do this.
Yes, that's right.
Cracks me up every time she says that.
True.
This was a good quote, just very inspirational. Obviously, Emily Wright is inspirational, most things that she says. But I really loved how she ended kind of the whole thing. And she said, our job is to bring hope into their lives and to love them more than they love themselves, to see their potential and believe they can reach their dreams. What this dark world needs is more hope and light. And it's so hopeful and inspiring to me just to know that I have that to offer, in so many ways to people. And whatever, I feel like whatever someone presents, when God puts them on my plate in front of me, like whoever it is for that day, I know I have something to offer them that's going to enrich their lives. It's just a matter of, okay, well, what do they need? Do they need hope or scripture, Jesus? Do they need oils so they can feel better? Do they need a financial opportunity so that they can, get out of debt or whatever? I know I hold so many opportunities and answers for people. So it's just a matter of, like Emily said, like, that's our job. Our job is to bring hope, and we have a lot of it. So go out and do your job.
That's awesome. And I love how you're just keeping your eyes open for ways you can add value to people's lives based on their needs. So it's not about how they can serve your needs and help you grow. And, anybody can easily get into that. I know I have that trap of looking at others as where they might fit into my goal. And it's great to have goals, but we need that balance of, we know that we're here to serve, and how can we add value to them, not looking for how they can add value to us. So thank you for sharing that. Okay, we're going to go into some informational fact stuff, and I'm going to try to go through it pretty quickly here. So we had some corporate messages I want to share, and again, I won't be able to cover everything. Those of you who are at leadership, I know that I might be skipping your favorite part, and I'm just going to let you know now that there were some parts that could have been their own presentation, that you'll see some of that coming out in other presentations, so that this one is not 3 hours long.
Yeah.
So we had the earnings disclosure. We always get that at leadership each year. And these numbers are holding very steady across the board. Not a lot of fluctuation in the last 4 years, 5 years even, which really is remarkable in itself. If you don't know that within network marketing, it usually takes a good 10 to 20 plus years for a company to kind of level out and figure out what their averages are going to be. Because there's a lot of growth, or there might be a lot of turnover, or different factors affect these numbers each year. And so it's really encouraging to see that we're at a stable place, even with the growth that we're having in numbers. Our sales volume and our commissions and bonuses and things are lining up. So the compensation plan is doing what the founders expected it to do, and holding strong at these numbers that we first started to see people at these levels reaching about the time I joined. So it hasn't changed a lot, which is exciting to see. And then you see the percentages of our Silver Plus leaders in the company who are at each of these ranks. All right, and then we're going to talk a little about maintaining rank. So we hear that, once you hit a rank for the first time, you may not expect to maintain. You may slip back to your previous rank again the next month, and there might be some ups and downs and a little bit of time that it requires to solidify. And that is perfectly natural and normal. And you should not feel badly about that. Some people really beat themselves up about it. And it can be normal for some businesses, and other businesses solidify pretty quickly. And certain ranks will be different from others as well. But dōTERRA wanted to know, is there a specific trend? Is there any one factor or any set of factors that really makes a difference in how people are maintaining rank? Those who are maintaining, what are they doing maybe that's different from people who aren't? So they looked at some different factors. The amount of time it took to get to the rank, if it took 3 months to get to diamond, or if it took 3 years. Is one or the other a more stable organization? And they found no specific trend. It didn't matter. It didn't matter how quickly or how slowly someone got to that rank. So that's good news. Again, each person's journey is different, and you can be solid at that rank no matter the time frame. Organizational volume. So does someone who hits their rank of silver, so you need 3 elites for silver, so a minimum of 9,000 OV. Does that person have a more or less solid rank than someone who maybe has a couple of really huge legs that are already silver by the time they get their 3rd elite, for example? So maybe their volume is like 30 or 40,000. And again, there was no specific trend. That did not seem to matter in terms of how well it helped you to maintain your rank. And then the last thing they looked at was the new enrollees personally to that leader who's at that rank. Did that make a difference? And there was a very strong trend for those who had an average of 0 to 3 new enrollees per month. Once they hit silver, for example, they were maintaining their rank only about 30% of the time. And you can see the difference as they enroll 4 to 6 a month, 7 to 9, 10 to 12, 12 plus. There's a very strong trend that if you're consistently enrolling and continuing to teach and educate others and stay focused on that aspect of your business, that you have a much stronger potential of maintaining that rank and growing your business beyond that rank even. So keep that in mind as you do get closer to leadership levels. If you're not there yet, there will be a temptation to shift your focus onto kind of managing your team, or even just leading well. And that's great. We all need to grow our leadership skills, but you have to continue to make time for your personal activity. And that is something that Tanya recommended to me early on, was that I needed to spend about half of my work hours on my personal contacting and enrolling. And if it helps, do that first. So before you can answer team questions or check your groups for things that you need to address, or do team trainings or anything else, focus on your personal activities so that you don't lose sight of that. All right. A lot of you have seen these numbers. They came out with our spring tours last year, that there are limitless opportunities, really. And 66% of the US has never used essential oils, according to some surveys that were taken last year. Half of those people said they do want to try oils. So the other half, they just don't know enough yet, right? So, but half already say they want to when asked. And that half is equal to 100 million people just here in the US who want to experience oils. So we have a huge opportunity still in front of us. We're nowhere near what would be considered saturated. And I always like to think of, even if it seemed like you are saturated, like every adult in your town uses oils, well, guess what? Someone's about to turn 18. There's always opportunities around us. And there's a lot of untapped opportunity out there. So in this survey, 61% of the people polled could not even name an essential oil company. 44% didn't recognize a single essential oil company, even when they were shown a list of names. 53% of non-natural product users still ranked healthy lifestyle as important. So again, they just don't know how essential oils can help with that. And then 87% of the people who aren't using natural products yet are open to trying them. That is huge. So don't just limit who you're looking for as people who maybe are already into natural products or already do certain things like you do, clean eating or using herbs or whatever it might have been that you were doing even before oils. Know that there's huge opportunity out there. If everyone in your mom's group or in your office is using oils, that's a really small group of people. Don't tell yourself, I've already talked to everyone, just because there's a small group of people or friends who know. And I've heard before in different trainings that you actually don't really have a business until you get outside of your warm market. So get outside of that warm market. Until that point, you're really just sharing with friends and family. So you'd probably be considered a sharer, even if you've managed to hit some ranks, that you can do that with just in your friends and family circle, but it doesn't become a true business that has somewhere to go if you're not willing to get it outside of your warm market. So how do we keep our culture intact? That's always a focus of our leadership. And I love that our leaders are focused on that they want to make sure that they are staying true to that. And our the promise that they give to us, whoops, it didn't do me my animations there, sorry. Here we go. Okay, the purity of our oils will set the standard for all essential oils. And they promise that they will always be loyal to the leaders of the company, which is us, and treating us as partners. That they will remain nimble as a company so that we're continuing to define the market. And that we will maintain the soul of a small company no matter how big we get, that we will never forget our purpose to serve. And these are good things for us to remind ourselves of as well. But truly the heart and integrity of our leaders cannot be beat, or I would say even matched. And they are just that caliber of people that if you haven't been to a corporate event and gotten to hear them speak and hear their hearts and really get to know who they are, I encourage you to do that. And at convention, that's what really solidified this to me as my company and my opportunity, and something that I could embrace and own as my own, because I saw that I could align myself with their goals and their values. And they're very focused on culture. And again, going back to what is the culture of our teams, let's pass that on. So our original mission that our founders created in 2008 is here. And I'm not going to read through all of these, but something they focused on a lot was we have actually accomplished 1 through 4 of these. And they're going to continue focusing on how to maintain that, how to grow that. But there is a new focus now that we're entering into. And that's number 5, bringing together healthcare professionals of traditional and alternative medicine to encourage further study and application of therapeutic grade essential oils in modern health practices. So this was an exciting focal point of the retreat, that really opened our eyes, I think, for a lot of us, that the timing is perfect to disrupt the current model of healthcare in the US. And that we've been working up to this. And 1 through 4 really needed to be well established before the company could focus on 5. And we are at that time now, and we're going to hear a lot more about that throughout this year, and especially at convention. The greatest of all clinical trials ever recorded in the history of mankind is documented in the multi-millennial use of essential oils and other natural methods. This was Dr. Hill, who shared at the Global Summit on Wellbeing in May last year, and he gave a great, just excellent presentation about where we're going in terms of modern healthcare and essential oils. We know that we are the most tested, most trusted essential oil out there, and Dr. Hill shared with us how there's this new vision that they're creating for healthcare. There were some alarming statistics that our lifespan is reducing. There's this progression of morbidity, lifestyle, chronic disease, inflammatory causes could all be to blame. But we do have hope to bring people if they're willing to make a change. And for the first time, US children today have a shorter life expectancy than their parents, for the first time in 2 centuries, I should say. And so that was just alarming. And, I've heard that before. Some of you may not have. And so that's why they're willing and ready to take this on. We have an aging population, a lot of chronic disease, drug prices are increasing, premiums are increasing, and people are looking for more personalized care. They have product safety questions, they're questioning government spending, and a lot more people are continuing to explore and look at natural alternatives. We know that not all essential oils are created equal, and we have developed a testing sequence that exceeds the industry in breadth and scope. So you can see all of these different types of analysis and testing are things that dōTERRA is committed to doing. And most essential oil companies don't do these. If they do, they maybe do 1 or 2. And that's really not enough anymore to prove the efficacy and purity of the essential oils. With the technology and the way that testing has developed, we are always on the cutting edge and looking for those ways to verify that go above and beyond. Policy changes, technological advances, and structural shifts have primed the healthcare industry for upheaval, disruption, and incredible opportunity to advance the standard of care worldwide. That's exciting news. And Dr. Hill shared that dōTERRA has active relationships with 120 and counting hospitals. And there are some landmark studies that the medical community can look to as a standard so that more of them will be willing to partner with dōTERRA, because that's really what it comes down to. He was saying that it's never really been an issue of the medical world valuing essential oils, that a lot of them do. And I think it's very telling that I hear over and over, and I know this has been my experience, that when we have a nurse or a doctor come to an essential oil class, we think, oh my goodness, we're intimidated and I'm not going to know the right thing to say. I don't know all the terminology and they're going to be judging me or making fun of me or skeptical or all these things we might assume. And they end up being the ones on the edge of their seat most of the time. They are most interested and most engaged and most excited about it. Even just at a basic 101 class where we'd think, oh, they know so much more than I do, or, oh, they're, tainted by big pharma, or whatever we might think about them. We have to let those judgments go because that is really, the issue is knowledge and education, just like it was for us before we knew about dōTERRA. So the medical world is ready to learn and understand, and we're going to be increasing the ways that we help them to do that. dōTERRA is very engaged and active in building that bridge, just bridging the gap between the allopathic model and the holistic models of healthcare. So if you are a healthcare professional, or if you know healthcare professionals who want to join the movement, they can join at this website, source2u.com/healthcare. They can email healthcare@doterra.com and get involved. So they are looking actively for more people who want to get involved, so that by convention, when a lot of the news comes out and more studies are published by then, and all of the exciting things that are coming in 2017, there will be an active community engaging, and that is going to be really exciting to learn more about. So again, more details coming soon at convention. All right, we're going to move into some other announcements, and that includes some new products that Robyn is going to cover for us.
Cool. So there's kind of some new formulations of some of the products. Not anything particularly surprising to me, but it was fun to just get excited about as well. So the first one is the Serenity Bath Bar. So it's like a similar formulation to our moisturizing bath bar, but it smells like the Serenity. So that is $6.75 wholesale, $9 retail. You can order that starting April 3rd. The shampoo and conditioner now comes in larger bottles. And Crystal, do you remember the savings on this? I can't remember how much it was.
I don't remember. I'd have to do the math really quickly.
Okay.
Because I think are they 8 ounces right now or 6? I don't even remember, but yeah, you can figure that out.
Yeah, so either way, it'll be a savings when you buy it in bulk, obviously, sort of like with the Deep Blue, how we offered that in a larger bottle. So, and this is, a lot of people have been asking, I know, for this for a while, and I love these two products. I love both for my hair. I have wild and crazy hair, and they're both fantastic for my hair. And I love that they're both color safe. So if you haven't tried them yet, it's a good time to try them and get them in a bulk size so you can save money. And now we have the vegan Microplex VMZ. And I didn't know this. We kind of had to figure this out, but I didn't understand what was not vegan before. So I guess before they had something in there, one of the
it's one of the enzymes, yeah.
Yeah, one of the enzymes was previously not vegan. It was vegetarian, just not vegan. So now everything, including the enzymes, is vegan. And so if you are or know someone who needs to take a vegan supplement, now we have it available in our vegan Microplex VMZ, and we also have it repackaged as well in a new vegan Lifelong Vitality. And I know a lot of people cheered when this screen came up for when I was there in Long Beach, and they were just excited. I guess they have people who want this and are excited to get it out of the pack, because before you had to order the daily nutrient pack and then do the Omega vegan separately. So now it's all together and vegan friendly. And that is the price there. Then they announced also that there will be some upgrades to the appearance of some of our enrollment kits. They're going to start first with I think it's the Every Oil kit. So it comes in a nice fancy box. And so it's just very appealing, aesthetically appealing, something that's nice to carry your oils in when you sell a new kit to somebody. They said they're starting with the larger kits, and then they are going to repackage all of the kits eventually, but they're going to start with the larger kits and then move their way down, and it's just going to be kind of like a facelift to the packaging that's coming out. So
great.
Nice and pretty.
All right, thank you. Okay, one of our other really exciting announcements that made everyone cheer was this empowerment pool. You probably have heard about this, but the Premier and Silver ranks now come with a new bonus that's called the empowerment pool. So Silver and above have leadership pools already. That's one of the great bonuses that we get for leadership, just for maintaining our ranks, Silver and above. We get different shares of the company's profits, basically, depending on our rank. How many shares we get and how big that pool is depends on how many other people are in it. So it does vary every month, but they're adding a new pool just for Premiers and Silvers. So for Silvers, that will be on top of their leadership pool. For Premiers, it's a brand new bonus. And they're investing company profits to make that happen. So it's really exciting. The higher number of Premiers and Silvers will be achieving and maintaining rank because they're motivated, obviously, by this incentive. And one thing we've said for a while is that, Premiers, at Premier, there's not a huge incentive to hit Premier or maintain You get an extra level of unilevel, that 7th level, 7%, but a lot of elites haven't even built up to a 7th level yet. So there's no one on that level for them to get a percentage from by hitting Premier. So there's not been a big incentive other than if they're motivated by rank. But not everyone is just motivated by titles. And I think that's actually pretty common in dōTERRA because of our hearts to serve and just what attracts people to dōTERRA, that there's not a lot of people who are motivated by titles. More wellness advocates will be receiving residual income, and there's always a big focus at leadership. I love when David Sterling tells his story of how he had such a high value of being debt-free and what sacrifices he and his wife made early in their marriage so they could do things like always pay cash for vehicles and furniture and pay off a 30-year mortgage in 4 years. And it's just really amazing to hear all of the things that they did and how they lived so that they could be debt-free, and how it's important to him to keep the company debt-free, but also it's important to him to help us have ways to become debt-free and to be empowered to do that. So this is just another way that they're investing company profits for our good. And that will also create stronger leadership pathways to higher ranks. And it's something that's never been done in the US before. Network marketing companies don't just add another bonus and change their compensation plan for the better. We've seen companies change their compensation plan for the worse because they realize they're paying out too much and they can't afford to keep doing that, even though their compensation may not appear very generous to us who are used to dōTERRA's compensation. But they have never made a change to the dōTERRA compensation plan before. And actually, when this first was being discussed of adding this pool, they were looking at possibly taking it away from another form of commission that we already get. And they just knew there would be too much negativity surrounding that. And it would look like maybe they thought the compensation plan was flawed and needed to be changed. And they didn't want that perception. Truly, they just wanted to add extra incentive and bonus and reward for hitting and maintaining Premier and Silver. So the empowerment pool, again, these shares, it's always just dependent on how many people hit it and what the company profits are that month. So it will vary. It's not always going to be exactly $190, but that's the average that they're figuring. And April will be the first month it's actually paid out. So for March, if you hit Premier or Silver, you will be eligible for this. And it is 1% commissionable volume from the company's profits. Again, Premier and Silver each will be getting 1 share. So a Premier example, if you're maintaining at 5,000 minimum OV that you need at Premier, your first leg is executive, your second leg is executive. They each have 2,000, and then you're making up the other 1,000 either somewhere else on your team, or maybe one of those executives is actually elite, but they're just required to be executive for you to hit Premier. Your total Premier commission is increasing. So previously, the average commission at Premier was $797 a month. You get this new bonus, and your total average monthly commission is going to increase to $987, so almost $1,000. And that's a really exciting amount when you are working hard. Premiers work really hard, and we so appreciate and love our premiers. It's a hard rank, and we say that at our elite retreats. Elite and premier are tough because you're working hard. It doesn't feel like it's paying off quite as much as you hoped if you were to figure out per hour. But if you have a long-term vision for where you're going in this business, you know it is worthwhile. So the Silver example, just in case you're not familiar with it, you have to have 3 elites, so 3 separate legs with a minimum OV of 3,000, and your commission will increase, of course, as well. So previously, average commission about $2,060. You get your leadership bonus, and then now your empowerment pool bonus as well, and your total average monthly commission becomes $2,400. And oops, I didn't mean to go there. So something that these slides didn't mention that I need to go back and mention is that they did add a requirement that for you to get these bonuses at either Premier or Silver, you do need to enroll 1 person that month with 100 PV. So you need to make sure you're doing that. If you're hitting Premier, you're hitting Silver, don't forget that you need 1 enrollment that is your personal enrollment of 100 PV. And I really like that they added that because it helps, again, you not to forget that personal enrolling has got to continue. And you actually can miss out on a bonus if you're not doing that. So I think that was really smart to continue to remind us all at leadership ranks that we need to continue focusing on that. So I wanted Robyn just to share quickly what this new bonus means to you and how you felt when you heard this announcement as one of our newer silvers.
I was super excited because it's just sometimes hard and discouraging month after month when you're not, and I've been at this rank for a while, so either premier or silver. So it's hard to continue investing in your business tools and in your monthly order and not always feel like you're either making that back or progressing. And I just feel like this is such a great incentive to reach that premier and also to maintain it, and also for silver. So I'm excited. I'm actually developing a whole new system for my leaders to get them encouraged to hit premier and to maintain it and to move on to silver too. And I think it really makes a big difference when you can say you're going to see this not only in your title but in your bank account because we all need to see it there, and we need to be maintaining it there, and we need to have not only more to invest into our businesses as they grow, but in order to pay off some bills. And sometimes that's what people are working toward, is saying, I need to pay off my electric bill, or I need to pay off my car, or that whole going into paying off debt. Some people are in this business so that they can pay off debt, and this is just a great way that our company is putting their money where their mouth is, basically, I think. And they're saying, we want to help you get out of debt, so we're going to actually pay you more money so you can get out of debt. So I love it.
Yeah, totally exciting, and really super smart on the company's part, but super motivating for those who are working toward those ranks to maintain those, because once you get that bonus, you don't want to not get it again. So it just keeps you motivated to continue getting that bonus and to continue moving forward. And $2,400 average monthly commission, that's really huge to people. That's a number that people a lot of times can't even fathom, just having that much extra that they didn't have before, and how that could make such a difference in their lives, whether it's walking away from a job or going part-time, or maybe they love their job and are continuing to work, but they're able to pay off debt that much faster, or maybe they've lost their job and that could replace income. So there's so many things that represents for people. And I encourage you, as you're talking to people about the business opportunity, really know the other person's needs and don't assume it's the same as yours. And if someone is shooting for a rank or setting a goal, instead of, just letting them get away with saying, well, I just want financial freedom, and so I need to be silver. Really ask them to make that personal and say, well, what does that mean? What does $2,400 a month mean to you? What would you do with it? Not to be nosy, but name some things that you would do with that, and make your why really personal and tangible, because that's what is going to motivate you, not just this obscure idea of financial freedom, but being able to give your daughter horseback riding lessons she's always wanted, or being able to pay off those student loans that you didn't realize would mount up the way they have, or medical debt, or being able to have a vacation with your family, or visit your parents who are on the other side of the country more often. Whatever it is, there's so many things. And when people start to get personal, they'll tear up and they'll realize what this means, and that's what needs to go on their vision board. So that's a total side note, but that's something you made me think of.
Yeah.
So something else that's new will be disaster relief kits. I'm really excited about these. Now, these are not things we can purchase for ourselves, but these are things we can purchase for Healing Hands. So we can actually buy these for $25, and they're giving us PV for them. So we could put that on our LRP, and that counts toward our $125 a month, for example, to get the free product of the month and be qualified for commissions and all of that. And which means we're going to get points off of it, which is just kind of crazy as a donation, but it's wonderful. And it's super smart too, because once you get to leadership ranks, you are allowed, if you need to, make up a little bit of volume so that you don't miss out on your rank. you're allowed a certain amount that you can buy in, is what we call it. And so you're basically buying a little extra product that you can use for team incentives or giveaways or things to help you maybe make up that extra 100 PV that you need to hit your rank or whatever it might be. And so sometimes you don't need extra product, and or maybe you just rather make a donation to Healing Hands. And you can get PV for this. You won't ever see this backpack with these products in it come to your door. You won't ever physically touch it, but it will go straight to Healing Hands so that they can use it as needed for disaster relief to give people these hygiene products that are needed in those times of disaster and emergencies. So wellness advocates are donating the kits to Healing Hands for distribution by Healing Hands. And having just returned from a Healing Hands trip last month, I can promise you that every dollar is very well looked after. Every donation is carefully stewarded, and none of that money is going to pay a staff member. dōTERRA actually pays the workers in the Healing Hands department directly from dōTERRA's profits. Healing Hands dollars all go to the places where it's needed, whether it's the projects we're doing with farmers and on farms, or the OUR or Days for Girls partnerships. So all of the money and all of the things that are donated are going directly to those who need it the most. And they did hint that there will also be a meal replacement shake, that those are often taken into places where maybe there's been a hurricane or an earthquake and they have no access to clean food or water. And those are very high calorie, nutrient dense shakes that they're working on formulating. And those will be another thing that we could just purchase directly to be donated to Healing Hands so that they have those ready to go when disaster strikes. And for the hygiene kits, you have two options. You can get 4 hygiene kits for $100 or 20 hygiene kits for $500 if you're wanting to buy them in bulk. So those are exciting updates. And we have some new tools as well. And I'm going to let Robyn talk about the updates to, not new necessarily, but some updates to Source to You.
So Source to You is such a cool website. If you haven't checked it out yet, you should do that today. Just go to sourcetoyou.com. There's so many great sections and slides and information. It's really interactive. So you can go and pick, do you want to learn about growers, distillers, scientists, or practitioners? And it's so interesting. I just had our usage group team do that this last week, and Kelly helped me a lot, but it was just so fun to watch people learn about the quality of our products and our co-impact sourcing and how excited they got. So a lot of it is new information. There's all kinds of videos about the co-impact sourcing. As you saw before, that practitioner site is on there, where if you are a medical professional, you can go and you can register there and get more information, and you can send people there if you know medical professionals. And obviously Source to You is the place where you can find your testing of your individual lot of oil. So just look on the bottom of your oil, and it is the single oils that you're going to be looking at, and you just enter that number in the website there, and it pulls up the GCMS test and the results of that test, and certifies, and there's a signature on it by one of the scientists and or Dr. Hill, and it just says all of the information about your specific batch of oil. And I think that was exciting to watch people do too. Like, I remember hearing about it at convention last year, and like, that's so crazy. Like, we could like test our individual oil and look at the test of it, and that they would publish that and give that to us. And it just shows the transparency and the integrity of our company. And in such a powerful way to new people that don't understand yet how cool that is. So anyways, go send your whole team there, send all your members, say, hey, everybody go check out Source to You today. Tell me one thing you learned and what was most interesting to you. And they'll probably come back with like 50 things. So it's awesome. If you haven't tested one of your oils yet, go test it today, because it's so fun to do that and get the results back.
Awesome. So they should be about done with all of the single oils in North America now, since they said by the end of March.
Yeah.
And then the rest of the world by the end of the year. And then they'll start adding more with the blends and different products that we can check out as well.
Yeah.
And we have some education things I'll just go through quickly. A lot of you have probably seen these. We have the ebooks. So these are great to check out. What are essential oils? Why use them? How to use them? And are they safe? So those are the first 4 chapters of this first book. And that's just an overview of essential oils for beginners. And there's more books coming out. So this is exciting. You can use these to distribute to your new customers, and they can read it. And there's also an audio version as well, so they can listen to it. And then it goes through the ways to use oils. So the next ebook is aromatic use, and it covers again what oils are and how to use them aromatically. So there's some great things in there that you can check out with the ebooks. And then there's new PowerPoints. There's one actually based on that ebook, Essential Oils for Beginners. And there's new PowerPoints coming out and slides coming out as well. So it's wonderful. Even this slideshow was created by corporate, and we added some of our own things to it, but they're doing more of that where they are listening to what we're looking for. So make sure you're watching. You can find the some of these things, the graphics that you could use either just on social media or in slideshows under the promotional materials for each month. So when you log in or just go to dōTERRA.com, go to the social media assets, promotions, and promotional material for the month that you're wanting to find images for. And this kind of just walks you through how to find the promotions, and then there will be linked images, and more of that will be coming out. So they're listening to what we are wanting, both for tools for ourselves and for educational materials for ourselves and our teams. And they asked, would you like to have some compliant product testimonial videos to share? How about more inspiring lifestyle videos? So of course, everyone wants those. And more of those are coming under the videos tab at the dōTERRA YouTube channel. So be watching for more videos. I just recommend subscribing to dōTERRA's channel, so you'll get an email weekly with links to the newest videos. And these are really great. The videos that walk people through the cleanse, there's a little video each day. It's about a minute long. It's really a great way for people to feel confident in doing the 30-day cleanse and knowing they have a little snippet to keep them on track and understand what they're doing each of the 30 days. And there are other tracks as well. And that's through Daily Drop, but all of those are being added on the YouTube channel. And dōTERRA Amplify. So if you're not using this, I do have instructions for getting started in it in my business group. Just look for Amplify in the search tools. But you can edit and pre-schedule content using the Hootsuite app. And it's $14.95 a year for the Amplify app that goes with it. So you log into those and you'll have beautiful images, and you can change the wording and make it your own content. And now they're also adding Instagram. So we had Twitter and LinkedIn and Facebook options, and everyone was asking for Instagram, and that is now built in as well. And then we have some events coming up. If you're not doing the online events, put these on your calendar. The Empowered Life series, these have been really great. So we had women's health this month. We've got the following topics underneath that coming up in the next few months. So really excellent trainings and speakers on all of these. So stay tuned into that. You can also find the recordings in the dōTERRA University living videos section. If you have missed one, make sure to go back and watch these and share these. Again, just continuing to offer more wonderful educational opportunities, things that we as a team have been trying to do for a long time to provide value for our teams and training, but to see corporate coming on and doing some of this for all of the company is bringing a lot of cohesiveness. And we know that we're getting the best of the best trainings. And you can watch these, learn the information, and turn around and feel empowered to teach it to others. So again, under the university and then living is where you'll find past recordings from that Empowered Life series. Daily Drop now has over 200 training videos. Make sure you are staying tuned in. They're always improving that. We have some regional events coming up. These are just a handful, and it shows you here how to register. It's $49 a person, and these are something that they're bringing back by popular demand. Last year we just had the spring tours, but these summits are going on all over the country, and they are super popular. So get to one of these. There's some in Canada as well, and I've heard wonderful things about them. I didn't get to go to one when they had them 2 years ago, so I look forward to hearing more about that and your experiences at these events. There's a lot of product education focus, so it's great to invite customers and team members, even if they're not doing the business. They will get product experiences and training and education on the products, and have different stations where they can go try things and ask questions in a more interactive way rather than just sitting and listening to seminars. So get involved with whatever is closest to you and let us know how that goes. And then we have the incentive trip. They announced to the Dominican Republic. Here are the dates. So they bumped it back a little bit. And it's a beautiful resort that they actually took all the presidential diamonds to for their presidential trip a handful of years ago. It's a 5-star all-inclusive resort. You earn your way by enrolling and then keeping them on LRP. So that is how you earn points. And you will see that anywhere, I forgot how much it was. Do you remember, Robyn? How many points? A couple hundred, or 125 maybe was the starting point.
Up
and
to
then
250.
Yeah, and then 250 plus, which, whoever has the most points gets the big granddaddy biggest prize. But if you earn at least 125, then you will get in at the lower levels where you earn your trip. So who wants a paid vacation from dōTERRA? And we'll have more about this coming up, because we have some people who have won this incentive and in the past, and I'm going to be asking them to share some of their experiences. And then leadership for next year, because I know you want to save the date after hearing a little bit more about this. So March 13th, 14th, and 15th, again in Orlando, and then March 26th, 27th, 28th in Long Beach. So save those dates for next year. You do not want to miss out. And one of the greatest things about leadership is the camaraderie and being there in person. It is not the same just to get the information online, and we're doing our best to recap it for you. But Robyn, do you want to say a word about what that meant to you?
Yeah, it was so great to be with other people who are in similar places that I am, or just a little bit ahead of me, and so fun to have like a little party to go to. And I like this picture up in the top left. The superhero that they chose to be is an OUR team. So those are my superheroes too. And then I just got to meet so many fantastic people, and it was great. It's nothing that I could have gotten sitting at home. I had to go, I had to get out, I had to get up, I had to plan, but it was so worth it. And just encourage everyone to try to make it next time. You can see in the middle, I got to have dinner with Mark Wolfert, and he is just the coolest guy. I loved just talking with him. He's very relational. And going back to what you said about our leaders and our corporate executives in the beginning, Crystal, when you learn to trust them, it helps you all together in your business, because you feel like you're on steady ground as you go forward, and you can invest yourself into it because they've invested themselves. And he just shared his personal story with me and about his family, and asked me about my family and my dreams and why I'm doing dōTERRA, and shared about healing hands and what he does with them. And it was fun just to share our hearts and our dreams together. And he just was a real person. Even though I was starstruck, he just, he is not a high and mighty snooty person. He just sat down and had dinner, and I got to meet Peggy Smith, and she's a hoot and just a normal person too, and sat across from her and had dinner. She invited all her new silvers to have dinner at PF Chang's, so that was very special that I got to be a part of that.
Awesome.
And and it was just cool just to meet people and to hang out with them. And it's definitely an experience that I would highly recommend to everyone who can.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And this was obviously the West retreat, and the East we had a lot of fun too. And Tanya, Melissa, and Natalie, our Upline Blue and Presidential Diamonds, hosted. In the right top corner, there's a picture with Natalie, Melissa, and Tanya, and a few of us. They hosted a great dinner for us, and we had wonderful interactive experiences with one another. There's Casey Vaudry up in the top left, another of our Presidential Diamonds. And down in the bottom left, there's a group picture. Not everyone was able to make it for that, but we had such a great showing, and it was just so much fun to experience this with so many people. That I know our first leadership retreat that I went on, I think we had 6 of us maybe. So it's fun to see it grow and still to share these intimate times together of connecting and interacting. And then, of course, we had our superhero party. So here's some of our team members in their fabulous costumes and such creativity and so much fun that we had with that. And then you can see David Sterling in the top right with his Indiana Jones costume. You may not be able to tell, but those are little oil bottles across the front, which I love that, instead of his, ammunition or whatever. He's got his oil, that is his ammunition. And then Emily Wright down in the bottom right side. So lots of fun interaction with corporate, with leaders. And like you said, they're just real people there to support and encourage us, and so down to earth. And this is really one of the most special parts of it, is just the time we get to get away and spend together and build up our team unity and just build up ourselves, because really in this business, personal development is king, and you have to be committed to that and know that it's part of what is required. It's not optional. And this is what the retreat is really focused on, is our personal development. So it's about increasing our knowledge and our leadership skills and who we are, just becoming the very best version of ourselves that we can be for our families, our friends, our communities, our teams, anyone we're going to influence, how we can add value to them. And dōTERRA helps us in that mission. And I'm just so thankful and blessed that personal development is such a huge part of what the company does for us. And again, it's just not optional. So become a reader, or at least a listener. Leaders are readers. And if audio and podcasts work better for you, whatever it is you need to do to increase your knowledge and increase the positive thinking and encouragement that you are giving yourself, so you can pass it on to others, just do that. And certainly investing the time to be at these events does that as well, and is very worthwhile. So thank you so much, Robyn, for sharing your perspective. It's very valuable to us, and I know will be encouraging and motivating to others. And we look forward to sharing this time again with you next year. So again, save the dates and make it a priority.
Thank you.